There's a lot of big maps out there, but how big can you actually make them? So if you go over to the landscape tab, you got these options here. So scale, it'll make the vertices bigger. So down here, these little squares are the vertices. And then you have the yellow, that's your sections. And then the big green ones are your components. So if you make the scale bigger, of course your vertices are gonna get bigger. And that'll actually affect your GPU. The section size, you can make that bigger. You can see the whole sections get bigger. And the larger the sections are, the more vertices are in the section. So you can see there's 127 vertices by 127 instead of 63. The more vertices you have in the section, the more it costs on your CPU because you're loading more area. The sections per component, if you change that to 2x2, you can see that it gets bigger again. When you go to 2x2, that means one component could be rendering 4 different LEDs at once. Now, number of components will actually add components and change the size of your map. So you can bump both of those up. 32 max. And if you wanted to go even bigger, so this one's actually the XL island. But if you want to go bigger, you could do 127 by 127. But you can see we have a max on the landscape. Now, if you wanted to use 127 by 127, you could scale either one of these down, back down to 2000, and now you can actually hit the create button. But wait, which option should I choose? Should I do 127 or should I go up to the big one? Well, the survival island, these up here are actually using 127 by 127. It's 1,000 vertices. The XL island is using 127 by 127. If you wanted to make it the same size as the XL island, then you could do 63 by 63 and then bump the components up to about 19. And that'll give you about 1,200 each. You'll be about the same size as the XL island. And you'll be well under the max limits. For good performance, Epic actually recommends 63 by 63. But if you wanted to run the other ones, I hadn't really seen much difference on the frames. And if you wanted to check, you actually have your FPS at the top right corner. Now, another thing we could do, we could actually import a height map. I've used this website here. I'll put the link in the description. Another one is World Machine. So if you go up to the information here, you have your map size. This one's actually 12 kilometers. You could scale this, you could bring this down, but it doesn't really work for me, so I wouldn't mess with that. Just make sure you uncheck grid. You could put streams on, but it'll put holes where your stream is, so I'll leave that off. And what you can do is just go over to this button here and download PNG height map. And see, I've already got one here, so I'll just save this one as height map. And all you have to do is just move this square around to find different locations. This one's actually Hawaii. I've seen this before when I went there. It has a nice little waterfall and inlet here, so I'll show you what that looks like. So I've got that imported to my desktop. So what you can do now is you go over to the landscape mode and hit this import from file. And then you go to the height map file, pick these 3 dots, and you can pick this little height map. Now you'll see it looks kind of off. So what you have to do is calculate the height in your scale. So to calculate your scale, you need to convert the 17.28 kilometers to meters, which is 17,000, and then convert your meters to centimeters, which is the units of Unreal. So that's times 100 is 1,700,000. Divide that by your resolution, which is what a height map resolution is over here, and you'll get 1,600. So I go over to my X scale, type in 1,600. And that'll change your Y. And then now I need to get the vertical. So if you go back to your map over here, information, it should tell you the max height. It's about 1,500, 1,600 say. So if you type in, we'll just say 1,700, convert that to centimeters, and then Epic actually gave us a conversion number over here on their document website under landscape technical. The number is right here. So that's their height map conversion number. So multiply that by your elevation in centimeters and you get 332. So you go over to your height scale, type in 332. So that should give us the right height. You can see it's ginormous. It's 17 kilometers, so we'll see if this works. So you might want to bring it up just so you can see it's not underwater. Bring it up a little more and hit import. And this will probably take a minute.
One eternity later.
Okay, I got my height map imported. Only took about 30 seconds. So zoom out here. You can see there it is. Works all right. See the mesh is a little off, but we can always fix that later. Now you can always go back and find it over here in your browser. Click on the landscape and you can actually bring it back down. Just adjust it. There. So this is that canyon I was talking about. And you say, can we actually play this? Well, let's find out. Now, before I play this, the only thing you have to do here is get your player spawner. You can hit F to focus on that. Of course, it's way over here. I'm just going to delete that one. Now just drag the player spawner over here. You can see the scale of this place. So the only thing you can't do is put the player spawner up there, because that's out of the limits of the play area. You can go up there, you just can't spawn up there. So I got my spawner down, I'm gonna launch my session. This might take a minute.
One pair of pants later.
And there you go. Got this giant map in Fortnite. Wouldn't recommend this because this is gonna drain your computer, maybe catching on fire or something, but you got it working in here. You can fly around. Now the only thing about these is, since you scaled it up, those vertices are a lot bigger, so you can actually see the triangles now. So this is probably good for background, but I don't know if I would use it for gameplay, especially if you put roads on the map. It doesn't show up very well. But if you do want to use a height map, I'd probably recommend using the smaller one. I don't think I would use 70 kilometers for gameplay unless you don't want to see anybody on the map. Oh, the other question is there a height restriction? Well, you can see this is almost at 2,000 meters high. Now what if I go back to UEFN? If I zoom out and select the main landscape here, or if I change the rotation here. Yep, there is no height restriction. If this was helpful, leave a like and subscribe. I'll put out some more tutorials later on. Alright, see ya!